So we are here with the nighttime live. Sorry, it's such a mess in here. There's Suji, there's Baji. They were just having zoomies after their midnight snack, or, well, one of many midnight snacks. And so here they are. I'm actually making some noodles, and so we're here to hang out for a little bit. As I make my noodles and get my tea and everything, I'll try to place this in a way that makes you be able to look at Baji. Hi, Soji Mama. Hi. Okay, what shall I do? Let me put this over here and then this over here. Hello. Hi. All right, so there's Baji. And then let me also share the live. And then I'll continue my noodle making because otherwise people might not know that we've gone live. Oh boy. I'm a little tired today. A little bit down. Just kind of doing stuff slowly, slower than normal. Tell us how you're feeling, and let's get this live started. Okay, I see Baji on the live. It's a little bit quiet in here as far as we are live. As far as the live goes, I don't know if people can see that we've gone live. I know sometimes it takes a minute. Hi. Hi, Nausat, how are you? How are you doing? Here's Baj. Hi too. How are you? We are getting started with our live here. And I am making some food actually, because I am hungry. I went swimming and I didn't really eat a dinner. Hi Lily, how are you? Thank you, Lily. Your cat is so cute. Thank you, RMVR. Aw, thank you so much. Let's see swimsuit. No, I'm already in my PJs. Oh boy, not as exciting as you might think. As a person, quite boring. Just did swimming for my mental health and physical health and well, what else was I gonna say? Peace and proper breathing. And then I came back, and now can you sub to my channel? Yes, you can. You can go ahead and subscribe to me, and I will find you later on after the live. You're from? I am from. This is Boston. We're in Boston area, Greater Boston area. Where are you from? Where is your face? It's kind of right here. Hi, Luis, Paulo, hello, Brazil. Hi, Andra. Ode, Null, Lily says I already subbed. Hi, Lily, are you Lily from, like, Japan? I don't know if somebody that I have met before is in the chat at this point or not. This is me. And I don't usually come on here myself, but I wanted to say hi and show my face, because if you're the Lily that's from Japan, then hello, I haven't seen you in a while. No, I'm from Missouri. Oh, hi. Okay. Missouri in the US. Cool, 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 cool. Hi, Padam New. Hi, Wasim. Hi, MacDude. Hi, Nicholas. Please support me, says Wasim. Okay. Wow, you're pretty, says Nicholas. RMVR says, I'm from Ohio and it's not that bad. Lily says, yes, and you can call me Willow or Will. So this is my getting ready for bed time. I sub now. Thank you too. Thank you for subscribing. Can I make my noodles? Will you guys hang out? I can make my noodles and also eat them with you. Usually we just show the kitty cats and I discuss some kind of book or physics or something, but I generally wait to see which crowd is joining, and if my physics crowd is here, then we read from a physics book and also discuss those topics. What's your name? My name is Baji's mom. This is Baji the handsome cat over here. Let me show it to you again. So here's Baji the handsome cat. He's not always willing to perform magic tricks for you, so sometimes I have to show my face to increase watch time. Lily says, can I be a member, please? Of course. As soon as YouTube lets me do that feature, I will make you a member or give you the chance to be a member. Or you can give me the chance to make a membership happen. What's your name? Baji's mother. I birthed Baji. Oh my gosh, they're fighting. They're fighting. Nice cat. Thank you. Hi, RMVR. I see all your emojis. Thank you so much. Two says Kitty. Nicholas says I'm watching. Thank you. You are a princess. Oh my gosh. I like to be a queen. Queen of my empire. Empress of my empire. Show us the cats are fighting. No, so they stopped. They were gonna fight because they were starting to have zoomy time, but see, now he's over there. Hi, Baji. So Baji's over there with his dog toy. He loves a dog toy. So he's kind of like a kitty cat who is kind of like a little puppy. He loves his dog toy and he's going over there to claim it at this time. What a coincidence, I'm a king. Aw. You are age. I have an age. That's true. It's 100 million. No, actually, the age of the earth is 4 billion. The age of the universe is 14 billion. We're made of elements in stars that are quite old, could be billions of years. Well, then I declare to be a servant. Now Sath, Lily says cute. RMVR says, well, then I just declare to be a servant. You are age. Are you asking me or the wine in my fridge? The wine in my fridge is quite young. It's only from 2022. I am from the last century / millennium. Hi, BJ! I see somebody that I am more familiar with. Hello. Hello, my friend. How are you? How is South Korea? I turned the camera to me because I'm too lazy to get up and follow the kitty cats. They're having sort of a zoomy time right now, and they just went upstairs. I feel like my eyebrows are looking very asymmetrical, but that's okay. Asymmetry is part of life. Wait, God is human or SMTH? Now South says good. What country are you in? I'm in the United States of America, in Boston, Massachusetts. There's 11 people and 11 likes. Can more people please like, even though I do love this number, 1111. Lily, I'm going to go play some. Okay. What are you going to play? I'm good. Haha, you're looking good. Thanks, BJ. Thank you, my friend. Look at what things have come to. I have to show my face now. I don't approve. Nicholas says your hair color is very pretty. It's just black. Where I come from, everybody's hair color is black, my dear. If you'd like to go find out more black hair. I live in Georgia, United States. Oh God, still East Coast, just south. That's cool, that's cool. I'm up here in Boston, Northeast. Thank you. My Little Pony Rainbow Runners, says Lily. Trump win and deportation. Nicholas, that's where I used to live, says RMVR. Look, Nicholas and RMVR may or may not be neighbors. Is us US night? Yes, it's nighttime in the US. It's quite late, 1:25 a.m. But I'm hungry, so I was gonna make some food. Oh my God, look at this. Suji! Suji mama! Suji mama! Oh, I see my face on the iPad. Where is Baji? Where is Baji? Hi, Suji mama. Hi. You guys missed. I'm sorry, but we missed her little run. The camera was not turned in the right direction. It's daytime in the Philippines. Yes, this is from an Asian crowd. I sometimes go live pretty late to catch Asia and sometimes even the UK. Some people catch us in their early morning, and sometimes I do physics discussion late into the night in the US here because it's earlier in the day for our friends worldwide. So yeah, it's US night for sure. Let me eat. Stay here. Let me put you on Suji duty and go cook my noodles. They just have to be microwaved, okay? It's not a very complicated meal because I don't really do complicated meals unless... Oh my God, look at Baji with his dog toy. You have some lucky cats. Oh my gosh, did you see that? Did you hear that? Sometimes it's hard to catch them on camera because they're so fast. But they ran so fast. They're having zoomies. Oh my God. They're having zoomies. Ole baba shona. Oh my God. He just pounced. This is a she. The fastest one is Suji Mama, my little girl. No, I died. Oh my god, did you see that? He just walk pounced. Haha, says BJ. Zoom Zoom says too. Oh my god! Thank you, Nicholas. You have some lucky cats. Thank you. Thank you very much. So active cats, haha. I know, right? Look at this. I'm kind of zoomed in. Look at this. This is high up. She ran all the way from upstairs. The upstairs is just an attic, but it's also like my bedroom. It's finished, thankfully. So it stays kind of warm because the ceilings are lower there. So it's a smaller volume. Over there is Baji. And and they're having zoomies. So she came running down all the way and ran across the hallway and up to where she's now, which is quite a height. So active cats. I have a cat that I feed every day. Is that they can run sideways on walls? That's so cool. I know. She just, well, she can she climbs up. Like she basically uses this blue tower and then climbs up to, all of this. Hi Nausat, Nausat. I like cat. Oh, good. Oh, hi, Baji, Baji. Hi, baby. Cute, Shona. So Baji doesn't climb up as fast or as high as Suji. Just by choice. I think he's able to. He just doesn't. So she's like all the way over there showing him that she's in a different league than him. Like, look at her tail go. She's basically making a point that, well, I am fast, I'm active, and I've climbed up very high, and you're all the way down there, and we both had zoomies, but look at me and look at you. And Baji is actually looking at her to figure out where she went. Now Sad said, I like cat, thank you. Two says, my cat is sneaky, but not that sneaky. Aww. Yeah, Suji's very active. She's very fast. Thank you, God. Thank you to all. Thank you for all the blessings in the form of these extremely cute kitty cats. My cat is sneaky. Lily says bye. Okay, Lily. Bye. Good night. Thank you for being here and hanging out for a while. Look at Suji. Oh, Suji, you're so cute. Oh, such a cute mama. What's up, Suji? I think she's planning her next jump, and I think she wants to scare Baji. Like, look at him. He's over here. Hi, Baji Babu. He's over here looking up at her, and he's like, should I relax or not? He's like, am I allowed to relax now, or is Suji gonna kind of like pounce on me and jump me? So this is the dynamic that's happening at this time. And Suji's like all the way over there, and at any point she could pounce down. Is your cat autistic? Hi, VV Death, VV Death, VV. How are you? How art thou? We might be autistic for all we know. We're pretty creative people. We should go out for a slice and a beer one night. In Georgia. He's ready for a jump scare. He's ready for a jump scare. I know, he's like closing his eyes as if to tell her, yep, you can scare me now. But look at him. Oh my God, look at her. She's moving. She's making the moves over there. He's like, yep, I'll close my eyes and blink and be innocent. But actually he's ready for a jump scare, as you said too. Uh-oh. Yup. Hell yeah, says Vivi Death, Vivi. Vivi Death, Vivi. Arc Alone, hi. Arc Alone says hi or hello. Slice and a beer. Slice as in a bread slice? Oh, pizza slice. I see. I think I get it. I think I get it. I think I get it. I'm not great with socializing, but I think I get it. Suji mama! Sometimes Suji will be plotting up there to scare Baji, and she falls asleep because no one's really going up there to bother her. So she'll be like, I was plotting, but now I will be closing my eyes. Were you plotting, Baba? It's okay, Suji. I'll remind you to jump him. Aw. Okay. Please watch Baji. I'm gonna go get my noodles. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. Well, let's do selfie mode, Baji, so that we know where we look. Where we look. Okay? Okay. Oh my gosh. Hi, Fuji. Fuji, this food is for me. Please don't try to... I appreciate your company, but at the same time, it would be nice if I could just eat my chow mein in peace. Fuji has been giving me extra company during dinner time. Mom is not feeling very rich at this time, so Mom is eating chow mein. Which is fine. Rich chow mein. Okay. 5 minutes in the microwave. BJ, what did you mean that I look good now? What do you mean? I usually don't look good? Actually, it's usually just my voice in the videos. I don't really show my face much. Hi, Fuji Babu. Babu, this is just a sauce. Please don't try to eat the sauce, Fuji. BJ has been telling us about South Korea too. It's quite nice. We learn a lot during this live stream. Sometimes he tells us about South Korea. Sometimes we have people talking about Japan and the UK and all of the things. Fuji, please no. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your input to the sauce, Fuji. Hi, Babu. Fuji. Oh, Suji. Oh, you think I'm gonna feed you? No. I'm trying to feed myself. He's ready for a jump scare. I get shy around Pretty Woman though. You mean sauce? What do you mean sauce? I mean the sauce packet from chow mein. This house sauce, see? Chow mein is cooking and this is house sauce. Just looks no bad things happen, haha. Just looks no bad things happen. What do you mean? Who's looking? Oh, Fuji? Yes. I think he's sniffing around to see if there's any scraps for him or anything dairy related. He loves dairy and cheese and butter and all that. You know, from my food. It's not really his food. Is that what you mean? Just looks, no bad things? Oh my gosh. Okay. Just gonna be eating and sitting with Baji. Here you go. Baji, you can give me company during dinner. Oh, oh gosh. Oh gosh, Fuji, no. Fuji got into the sauce because I didn't look for 1 second. Actually, no, he didn't get into it. It's here. I just had to make sure he didn't start to eat the whole thing. I want a microwave, but I don't have one. You could get something on Facebook Marketplace, maybe. Fuji, no. No, bacha. Karna, Shana. Please don't come towards the sauce. I have to wave a napkin at him sometimes, or he keeps eyeing, coming towards the sauce. Please, no. Thank you. Please. No, Fuji. So I just took a shower. Thank God I'm done with that. Just gonna eat now. Flowey, Karna Babu. Please, please, Flowey, please. Over here. Over here, please. Over there. Stay over there. Thank you so much. Thank you, God, for food and privacy during the food. I'm laughing at my dialogues. Fuji, no. Actually, let me give you guys a treat slash a snack. Your N-1 snack, so that you'll let me eat. See, they're getting their snack now. Oh boy, this is very hot now. Okay, this is quite difficult to touch. Okay. Let me show you the things that are happening. So I had Baji hunt his food. Yeah, this is a pajama dress. It's just pajamas and a house coat because it's cold here. I want to see what the tea looks like. Okay, well, I'm making noodles. I might make a tea. So anyways, all right. I'm taking out the noodles, but it's very hot. Fuji, Suji, Baji got their snacks. So hopefully they don't come after me and my food at this time. Usually some of our friends from India join too at this time because it's quite in the daytime over there. Anyone is from India, let us know in the chat. Oh, this is a little watery. I think I added too much water to this. Whatever. Soupy. I'll call it soup. Oh. Fuji, I see you. Please. Please don't come here, Fuji. Oh my god. Oh my goodness gracious. Actually, I kind of want water now. I want some water. The noodles are too hot at this time. I need to drink water anyways. I just hope that Fuji doesn't. Thank you. Thank you, BJ. BJ said, enjoy your meal. Thank you. Ooh. I'll show you my teapot. It actually makes a nice, pretty blue light. I'll show you when I boil the water. Oh gosh, Fuji, no. Oh my god. Okay. The teapot, it's like a water boiling pot, and it no, kind of. I have allergies, and I went swimming, so. Book of Christ. What book? Are we talking about a book? Ooh, that's nice. Let me see. Where are your comments about a book? Oh, you want my dress? Well, this dress, this is from India. You can go get one there. Thank you. This is chow mein, just regular chow mein. Oh gosh, the whole thing kind of shifted. So, and I made it too soupy. I made it way too, made it way too soupy. This over here, cover my foot there. It's too cold. Country, United States of America. Oh my god. Baji and Suji are challenging each other. There's a little hair over there. Baji. think I should show you where Baji is. Look at him. He's giving me space, but he also kind of wants to be near my food. This is his style of supporting me during my meal. He kind of wants my food, but he kind of wants to give me space. Baji, it's noodle. You can't eat this. Indeed, you cannot. Thank you. Now Seth is saying so nice. Oh, thanks. How's your day going? Tell us. Tell us. Dominate the chat, guys. Or are you guys waiting to go get something to eat as well? To give me company during the meal. Hi, Key. I hope you get better soon. I'm fine. Just a little bit of... I'm just thinking the cat is like, should I eat the noodles? Yeah. Hello, Baji. Quite cold there. Only 2 Celsius. Yeah, it's gotten cold. So when I went out to go swimming, I felt it. It's cold out there now. I hope you get better. But I think I'm fine. Just have a little bit of sniffle, maybe. You should come to the beaches in Georgia. I do like the beach. Over here, there's beaches. Quite nice to be on the coast. But yeah, not as warm as Georgia, probably. I have some family in passing through Georgia right now, actually. They're going to Florida. Well, this soupy noodle will help. So. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's not bad. That's not bad. I made this from scratch. As in from the box. From scratch. I took it out of the box from scratch. That's not bad at all. Well, it's pretty good. This is pretty good. Florida had an insane... Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep. Florida has had some rough times. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Hi, Ki. How are you doing? How's Finland? Is it very short days now? I don't know where Baji went. I can see Suji over here. Ooh, I think Fuji and Baji are playing upstairs now. I hear them. Okay, BJ. Thank you. Join us soon. Next time, BJ will bring us some Korean news. Sounds good. Anyone else got any news for us? Heiki's saying sunrise 8.26. 8:26 and sunset 15:21. Oh my god. Sunset's by like 3:21 p.m. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's such a short day. Let me read that. And also Kavi Batangtas from Philippines got an insane typhoon too. Batangtas. Kavit Batangtas. Oh wow. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully everybody's recovering from these typhoons. It's been crazy. It is. It's pretty good. Made this from scratch. From the box. But the box contents are from scratch. Because this is America. Things happen fast here. Food fast. Work fast. Gym fast. Shower fast. Except not shower. I shower slowly. How about? Yes, Fuji. Come, baby. Fuji is telling me about his day. Hi, Fuji, baby. Hi, Shona. Hi, don't jump up on me. Okay, yeah, jump up onto the camera. That sounds good. I'm in Kavitya and I'm safe. Oh, I'm glad to. Thank you for letting us know. Baji. Now Olive typhoon approaches in Philippines. Oh gosh, really? It's not even winter and I can't stop thinking about St. Patrick's Day. I know the parties get wild up there in Boston. The parties? What kind of parties? Are we supposed to get invited to a party, Baji? He's here now. Look at this. Baji, are you supposed to get invited to a party? Look at his paw. He's so chill. Next to the food, hopeful and chill. Baji has decided to smell only. Look at him. He'll even look away. Wow. He's following Fuji. Fuji! Baji? Well, almost done with the noodles. Super typhoon Heart signal 5. Oh my gosh. You have a pretty kitty. Thank you. Here he is. Yes, Fuji. Fuji is asking for me. Yes, Fuji Babu. Come, Fuji. Oh wow, Fuji, good job. Thank you for bringing me the toy. Love kitty, yes. They're all taking turns with their zoomies now. Hi, Fuji Babu. Hi, Fuji. Not yet, Fuji. Don't jump up yet. Oh, my Fuji. I'm so happy you're happy. Okay. This was great. Love kitty, pretty kitty, yes. Yes, indeed. Baji is being a very good boy right now. He's not coming for my food. He's not getting jumped on. He's not jumping on anyone. Look at this. Suji Mama is exploring. Over here is Baji Baba. I have a cat that got birth. That just gave birth, you mean, or? Hi, Suji. You've come down to earth now? Wow, Suji. Someone's going to the bathroom. Suji's over here. Wow. Behold, the most active kitty cat and huntress, the Suji. Behold, indeed, this is a rare opportunity. Baby kittens are awesome. Yeah, that's true. Baby kittens are awesome. Indeed. Okay, now I can be comfortable and sit comfortably without the bowl because I'm done eating. And we can chat. All right, everybody. I'm done eating. What is up, you guys? Oh. Hi. Hi. I was gonna say Suji, but it's actually Fuji. Hi, Fuji Bablu. Hi, my naughty papa. My most naughty. My most naughty child. Baby kittens are awesome. Yeah? Who is over there? The biggest clock, not the Big Ben, is a hotel with a large clock. The biggest clock, not the Big Ben, is a hotel with a large clock. Are you talking about London? Are you talking about London? I actually don't know what this is. All done eating now. Still. Fuji. 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 Yes, it's good. Thanks. Was it good? The ramen? Yes, it was good. It was good. Yes, good idea, Nicholas. Message retracted. Good job. Very, very good job. I'm looking at my iPad too, just to make sure. Yes, okay, good. Okay, so let me talk about... One second. Let me talk about Einstein's Cosmos. It's a book. Oh, I usually don't see my face along with the books. It's reflected or reversed because of the you have it's reversed because of the camera being in the front camera mode. Hi, 2 says I'm excited for Christmas. All right, Heike, are you still here? Do you want to listen to some of this? I'd like the orange paint. Yes. I need to get a pedicure. It's coming off. Heike, are you still here? Just let me know in the comments if you are. Because I need at least one of my physics friends to be in the chat in order for me to cover art is fine? What do you mean? Heike, you're here. Okay, I'm gonna read. Okay, all right. It's enough for me. I'm gonna read and we're gonna discuss physics, even though it's a late hour. But Heike is in the chat. One of my physics guys is in the chat. That's enough for me. Okay, is Reese here? Oh yeah, book cover with little photos. Yes. Here, let me do a clip. Wait, that's gonna be a weird clip with my... I just wanted my lips not dry. This is gonna be one heck of a weird clip. Can I redo the clip? Oh, fine. Fine, YouTube. Albert Einstein. Yes, this is Albert Einstein. This is a book called Einstein's Cosmos, written by Michio Kaku. This is about how Albert Einstein's vision transformed our understanding of space and time. Heike, how is the voice? How is the audio? Can you kind of hear? I know I usually hold the phone microphone much closer to me in order to give a good voice experience, but I don't want to hold it right now. I just want to read like this, okay? So we've been on this chapter called Unification. Okay, good. Yay, thank you, Heike. Unification and the Quantum Challenge. Come, Baji. So we kind of saw that Einstein worked extremely hard in the early 1900s to update the theory for light and EM, or electromagnetism, and giving us a picture for the wave theory of light, as well as the particle theory of light. So in the year 1905, he gave us not only special relativity, which gave us the relative nature of space-time, as well as mass energy conversion. Baji's looking at me with doe eyes. As well as he gave us photoelectric effect and the Brownian motion. These were all published in the year 1905, and it was a very successful year professionally for Einstein. After that, he had some difficulties in his personal life, but we moved on from that to how he felt the need to work on general relativity soon after. And that was the updated theory for gravitation, updating basically what Newton had worked on. A couple centuries ago. Hi, Baji. Are you going to settle down? Because Mama wants to read. And then this need for general relativity was also because special relativity worked only for inertial frames of reference. And of course, inertial frames of reference means there's no acceleration, but of course our normal everyday life has acceleration. Gravitation makes things accelerate, and you could be in accelerating frames of reference. So that's why it was important to generalize the special theory of relativity to something like general theory of relativity. So he worked on that. And then this chapter kind of starts with the paragraph which now I think will make sense. So in 1905, almost as soon as Einstein worked out the special theory of relativity, he began to lose interest in it because he set his sights on bigger game, general relativity. In 1915, the pattern repeated itself. As soon as he finished formulating his theory of gravity, he began to shift his focus to an even more ambitious project, the unified field theory, which would unify his theory of gravity with Maxwell's theory of electromagnetism. So he wanted something that could unify. So some bigger, more general theory where that would be like Einstein's theory, and Maxwell's equations should just fall out of it naturally. That's what he wanted, something to unify these things. It was supposed to be his masterpiece, as well as the summation of science's 2,000-year investigation into the nature of gravity and light. It would give him the ability to read the mind of God. So this is the first paragraph. So now we've actually made some progress on this chapter already. So I just wanted to remind you what this chapter is about. It's called Unification and the Quantum Challenge. And we've been kind of doing this type of reading as well as discussion from my own background to kind of give you some physics content. So basically, this is what's going on in this chapter. Like, we have special relativity, we have general relativity. We saw there's this need for something like dark energy, the cosmological constant, because he realized, just like Newton had realized, that you actually need something more, or at least Newton had faced this question, and so did Einstein, which is that you need something more, because if the universe's main force was gravitation, it would just kind of collapse on itself. So he came up with the cosmological constant, which led to this question of dark matter, or sorry, dark energy. Even I get those confused sometimes. Dark energy is the one which is responsible for the expansion of the universe, why the universe is not collapsing on itself. And later on, it was shown that this expansion is also accelerating, and there are still questions. This is still a mystery. It's still not solved exactly. What is the physical meaning of dark energy? What is this force or energy or whatever? This energy associated with empty space is what they called it at that time in these early 1900s period, 1920s or so. So that question of like calling it cosmological constant, he did that as part of the math. You needed something in order to balance out gravity. I wanted to mention that that question is still a question, in the sense of there are surveys, there's work that is trying to figure out the nature of dark energy. There's this thing called Dark Energy Survey, a big collaborative effort. There's actually an article that I just read the other day with some results coming out of the Dark Energy Survey. There's also the DESI experiment, Dark Energy Spectroscopic Instrument. These are a couple things that I myself worked on for a little time. But that was not the main focus of my work during my PhD. I just wanted to mention. But I wanted to mention these big efforts in cosmology that are trying to answer questions about dark energy. Question is a question. Yes. So dark energy is still a mystery. I would call it one of the 2 or 3 top mysteries of the universe, or mysteries of cosmology, would be nature of dark energy and nature of dark matter. Those are still currently questions, even though we are kind of covering, from this book, we are covering 20th century physics, because I think it's important to cover 20th century physics as a foundation for where we are right now, so that we understand that this 21st century mysteries, have a sort of a history. And if we kind of understand those ingredients of what, the questions are about the universe, I'm hopeful that maybe we can bake the cake that is the actual explanation of the universe. Are you in college? Not at this time. I have done quite a bit of school already. So in this chapter, where we were at, I kind of forgot to mark it, but I think I kind of remember. Heike can remind me because he was there. You know what? Let me pull this a bit closer so that the sorry, the angle is going to be weird, but I think the soundtrack might benefit from. So during this time where we are seeing Einstein and a bunch of other people trying to come up with a more unified field theory that unifies gravitation with electromagnetism, in the 1920s and 1930s, that's also the time when there were big developments in quantum mechanics. So actually, in this particular part of the chapter, we were kind of focused on some of the more quantum mechanics developments and progresses that was happening. So let me continue with that, because that was an interesting discussion, and we were sort of in the middle of that. So where were we? Heike, do you remember where we were? That's right. We were in so Schrödinger wrote down the wave equation for matter, and Dirac worked on generalizing it to be relativistic. In the Bible, it says the same above as below, so maybe it's just a black ocean. Interesting. So we know the developments at this point. they were basically Schrodinger had done a huge thing, which is to write down the wave equation. This is where we were. This is where we were here. Give me 1 second. I am still finding the part of this chapter where we left off. Yes, okay. So, let me reread. This will be interesting for you if you didn't catch this part earlier. Basically, when Schrodinger wrote down the wave equation for matter, that was a big thing. That was a really huge thing because basically this wave particle duality was something that was a thing already. People had already worked on it and made some progress with it, but nobody had written down some wave equation of matter. Schrodinger was the first one who did that. It's very important. We cover it pretty early on in the quantum mechanics courses when you take quantum mechanics as a physics major, for example. So it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And then came Dirac, another guy, who generalized those equations to be relativistic. He incorporated Einstein's relativity into the Schrodinger equations, making them relativistic, which is also an important step in understanding the wave nature, or having a way to describe the wave nature of matter. Then, so if we keep going in this direction, then Dirac went one step further by looking at the energy of these electrons, because basically, if you write down the wave nature of matter, well, the most, simple picture could be that this wave equation is describing, say, one electron, right? So so quantum mechanics is the physics of the very, very small. So really, we're trying to describe, say, the wave nature of an electron, of, say, maybe a very simple element, like, say, for example, the hydrogen atom. It just has the one proton and the one electron. If somebody wants to write down the wave equation for something, and it's for matter and it's for a particle, why not start there, right? So let's look at this part. So by looking at the energy of these electrons, he found that Einstein, so this is Dirac found that Einstein had overlooked a solution to his own equations. So remember the very famous equation of Einstein, E equals mc squared. Usually, when taking the square root of a number, we introduce both positive interesting. For example, the square root of 4. So usually when we take the square root of a number, we introduce both positive and negative solutions. For example, the square root of 4 can be either plus 2 or minus 2. Because Einstein ignored a square root in his equations, his famous equation E equals mc squared was not quite correct. The correct equation was E equals plus or minus mc squared. So this is quite clever of Dirac to kind of notice this. So this extra minus sign, argued Dirac, made possible a new kind of mirror universe, one in which particles could exist with a new form of antimatter. So Dirac, and actually sort of like from Einstein's work too, we get this antimatter thing. So we covered this already. I'm just kind of giving you a refresher. We found that these particles actually have antiparticles. It's not a very big deal. It was considered a big deal back then, but basically something like an electron would have an antiparticle called positron, which is basically same mass as the electron, but just the opposite charge. Now, this is also going to have some importance in our story with quantum mechanics, so I wanted to mention this early on at this point, and also kind of give you the history of how the antiparticle came to be antimatter. It was actually given to us by this E equals plus or minus mc squared business, as well as Dirac put forth that you kind of get this. Yeah, okay, so now let me read about, I wanted to mention this antimatter thing here because we're actually going towards Heisenberg at this point, because I want to skip through some of the stuff that we covered already, but I wanted to mention Heisenberg at this point because remember, Heisenberg was very skeptical of these findings. Like basically at this time, the whole special relativity, general relativity, quantum mechanics progresses, all of this is leading to a sort of confusion or lack of trust in these findings or these theories from certain important people who will also contribute important things. So it's important to understand what their problem was so that we can kind of have an idea for the context of this situation. Basically, even though right now, especially after the anti-electron or the positron was discovered, it's not a big deal. It's not considered such a big deal anymore that there is this thing called antimatter, antiparticles. All these particles have an anti-particle. The electron has a positron. It's not such a big deal, considered a big deal anymore. But back then, when all of this was sounding kind of like sci-fi to people, one of the things that people struggle with a lot was antimatter. They thought that this was, oh my God, like, does this mean that there is a whole another universe of the antimatter or the antiparticles? Is there, whole thing about that? Now, if you go towards the progresses in the later part of the 20th century or the 21st century about the standard model of particle physics and all that, you'll see that this is not such a dramatic thing anymore. But back then it was. So let's just kind of rewind. It's like going back in the time machine where this stuff is just kind of coming out. Okay? I think it's dramatic for people. It's hard for people to imagine particle physics and quantum mechanics. It's very small. Just like the large is hard for people to imagine. Cosmology, the cosmos is very large. Physics of the very large scales. Similarly, physics of the very small scales, like quantum mechanics, particle physics, can be hard for people to imagine and cope with, because that's not really the dimension, that's not really the scale we live in. Our regular scale is classical mechanics scale. That's why classical mechanics was so successful for so long, is because we, us, human beings, buildings, houses, kitty cats, doggies, we're more of a classical mechanics scale. Hello, Abras Espanol. Yeah, I'm not much of a sci-fi person. I'm more of a sci person. Science, the science part of science fiction. I couldn't tell you about the sci-fi type of things that people say. So anyway, let me tell you about the problem that Heisenberg, so this is not science fiction, this is science and the history of science. So that's what we're covering here today. And let me tell you the context of Heisenberg. It's going to be very interesting. So at first, the radical ideas of Dirac met with fierce skepticism. The idea of an entire universe of mirror particles that arose from E equals plus minus mc squared seemed like an outlandish idea. Quantum physicist Werner Heisenberg, who with Niels Bohr had independently found a formulation of the quantum theory equivalent to Schrödinger's, wrote, "The saddest chapter of modern physics is and remains the Dirac theory. I regard the Dirac theory as learned trash, which no one can take seriously. However, physicists had to swallow their pride when the anti-electron or positron was finally discovered in 1932. So I already mentioned this, but basically, anti-electron or positron being discovered in 1932 obviously was a big thing because it was already predicted by Dirac. So it's always good when your prediction comes true, when you have a theory. It's only strong until it's only strong, or it becomes stronger when it's actually proven with experiment and with observation. Until then, it can be difficult to say that your theory is true, especially if you're not already very established as a theorist, as a very successful theorist whose theories have been proven true already. And Dirac was sort of young at this point, I believe. I think, because Dirac was, at one point we saw he was a student, for which Dirac later received the Nobel Prize. So in 1932, after discovering the positron, something that Dirac had put forward, now we know Dirac is right, good. So Heisenberg, the same person who had such a problem with this, you'll see later on his contribution as well, and he will shed some light as well. So that's the nice thing, is that when you do some of this really amazing work, or you come up with these theories that may give people trouble, but then, sometimes fact is stranger than fiction, right? The fact was that there were antiparticles. And the fact was that, yes, people were kind of troubled with that. But the fact was, then they discovered something with experiment, and that solidified something. And there were other types of problems. And it's not that just because you yourself have a problem with a theory doesn't mean that you yourself won't be actually contributing to something even stranger, maybe. That's the nice thing is about collaboration and publication, is that when you publish your findings, no matter how weird they might be, and at first might come up with go against the grain or come up with some criticism, but if you keep it going and you show how you got your results and you publish clearly, it actually gives an opportunity for other people to contribute. So you will see that Heisenberg, who had such an issue with this part of quantum mechanics, will also actually contribute something very important that we'll talk about in just a bit. The size of an atom is nothing compared to the space between the atoms. Therefore, we could? You mean there's space between? Got it, yeah. However, physicists had to swallow their pride when the anti-electron or positron was finally discovered in 1932, for which Dirac later received the Nobel Prize. Heisenberg finally admitted, "I think that this discovery of antimatter was perhaps the biggest jump of all the big jumps in our century. Once again, the theory of relativity yielded unexpected riches, this time giving us an entirely new universe made of antimatter." So that's what happened with that. So now let's go to the point where basically there was an issue. There was an issue. The issue was, I don't know if you remember from last time, that basically when Schrödinger wrote down the wave equation for matter, it was actually confusing people. There was a problem with that. So let's read about that real quick so that we can jump into this part. So, physicists at every institute on this planet struggle to learn the strange, beautiful properties of the Schrödinger and Dirac equations. However, for all their undeniable successes, because remember, Schrödinger wrote down the wave equation of matter and Dirac wrote down the relativistic form of them. So that's what we have now. We have those equations, and quantum mechanics kind of starts with that. So that's us being able to formalize quantum mechanics, the mechanics or the motion of a particle, a wave equation for a particle, or a position of that particle as a function of time. This was being given as a wave equation by Schrödinger and then generalized with relativistic form of it by Dirac. But there's a problem with it. Quantum physicists still had to grapple with the troubling philosophical question: if matter is a wave, then precisely what is waving? This is the same question that had haunted the wave theory of light, which gave birth to the incorrect theory of ether. Because remember, when back in the earlier chapter, when we talked about how electromagnetism and the connection of that with light, and that light was an electromagnetic wave, electric and magnetic fields oscillating and can even turn into each other, that's actually light. People had a problem with that too, because at that point, we didn't really know how light was traveling to us from distant objects or stars and things like that in the sky. Like, what was waving? Was there some ether? Things like that was a problem. And then that had prompted Einstein into working on special relativity, remember? So there was that whole story. Similar thing is happening here. So a Schrödinger wave is like an ocean wave and eventually spreads out if left by itself. With enough time, the wave function eventually dissipates over the entire universe. So this wave function that he wrote down actually dissipates over the entire universe. So if that were to happen, it's almost like the electron, say if it's describing an electron, can just kind of dissipate over time. And that's not a good thing, because we know what atoms kind of look like and how electrons kind of behave in terms of experiment, we had some idea about that. So that was confusing people. Subatomic particles were believed to be point-like objects that made definite jet-like streaks, which could be photographed on film. So they had made these discoveries already. Thus, although these quantum waves had near miraculous success in describing the hydrogen atom, it did not seem possible that the Schrödinger wave could describe an electron moving in free space. In fact, if the Schrödinger wave really represented an electron, it would slowly dissipate and the universe would dissolve. Something was terribly wrong. Finally, Einstein's lifelong friend, Max Born, so this is the big thing that happened. Max Born proposed one of the most controversial solutions to this problem, which is that he took the decisive step claiming that the Schrödinger equation or the Schrödinger wave did not describe the electron at all, but only the probability of finding the electron. So this is the big jump. I have to charge my phone actually. It's very low. I didn't realize it was getting so low. And I have to blow my nose. Sorry. We will continue in just a second. Let me bring it over there and charge it a little bit. In fact, I can continue reading and talking about this while it's charging. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Is it charging? I think so. Okay. Okay. Oh, hi, Suji. Let me get a sip of water. Settle down, people. We're going to keep reading for a little bit longer. Are they talking about radiation? No, they were talking about light at this point when we were covering the problem of light being an electromagnetic field, or sorry, light being an electromagnetic wave. Back in late 1800s and early 1900s, their question, basically Maxwell had written down the equations for E&M, electric and magnetic fields, and he basically had already introduced the speed of light in these equations. But exactly what was waving, how light was able to travel in empty space to us from distant objects, that wasn't super clear. Like just how these things worked wasn't super clear. We needed oh yeah, this is the teapot. I put the phone on top of this so that it doesn't get too hot, because this part is a stainless steel type of thing, which stays cool. So so yeah, this is the teapot, and also this is where we charge. But basically at that point, because people weren't really super familiar with a wave like light, people thought that light being a wave of electromagnetic E&M, basically electric and magnetic fields coming, oscillating and becoming, coming to us as a wave, meant that you needed some sort of medium like ether to make that happen. So that was the debate back then. That's what they were talking about. This was in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. Before 1905, when Einstein came up with a special theory of relativity. Okay? I need to take some allergy meds. Hang tight. We'll keep going for a little bit here because I think this is a very interesting part of the chapter. Whew. Okay. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hang tight. Okay, I took some Benadryl. All right. It's kind of cold here. All right, sorry guys, I'm here. Thank you. Ghost particles are also interesting. Almost 100 trillion neutrinos cuts through our body. Oh yeah. So neutrinos, we'll get into neutrinos, high key. So I did my PhD on neutrinos actually. So, but I don't want to talk about that right now because that's 21st century. We will go in order. I'm still listening. Okay, good. Per second. I need to, and those neutrinos are not that interesting, Heike. Those are just from the sun. So I did my PhD on neutrinos that come from like extragalactic sources and are higher energy. We'll cover all that. I'll do a live on that because that's like my own topic. My own topic is less interesting to me because I have a lot to say about that. No, it's more interesting and less interesting. Less interesting because, well, I studied it to death, so I can always talk about that endlessly. Let's finish our discussion of 20th century first. Okay? Okay. I'm very excited. Because I always find the history so interesting. So very interesting. Okay, I have 24%. We will only go till 24% is done. I'm falling. I'm falling, which means it's a gravitating frame. But what did the equivalence principle tell us? Guys, quiz question. The laws of physics are the same. Whether I'm falling or not. Come, Suji. Okay, guys, are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so first of all, turns out that The equation that was written by Schrödinger about a particle was not describing the particle at all. It was describing the probability of finding the particle. And with that, Max Born kind of solved this problem of this dissipating nature of the wave equation, because now just the probability of finding the particle is the one that's dissipating, not the particle itself, because that would have been very problematic indeed and have gone against our observation of the atom and its subatomic parts. So this was very important, and this was a very important step and leap in physics, because until then, people really only understood deterministic type of mechanics and physics. The whole point of physics, or to a large extent, the whole point of physics was to be able to predict the future. Basically, write down the position of a thing, say the moon, as a function of time, and then be able to predict it for like the next 1,000 years. It was deterministic. It was basically saying, I have the laws of motion. I have equations for the laws of motion. I have equations that I can describe a thing with, and its position as a function of time is like the most simplest, most basic example of a thing that people are probably trying to write down in physics. And basically these laws of motion, gravitation, all these theories were giving you a deterministic way of being able to do that. But here comes a wave equation and a way to write down something in quantum mechanics, the mechanics or the physics of the very small. And Schrödinger has given us an equation, and Dirac has even made them relativistic. But they don't quite make sense in terms of what's observed as far as an atom is concerned, because the equation has a dissipative nature, and that doesn't really help with understanding the atom physically. Because it's one thing to write down an equation and another to describe the physical reality of something. We know the physical reality of atoms, which is that there is an extent to them. Like the electron may be somewhere in there, but it's not like dissipating into like infinitely into the space or anything. The hydrogen atom is the hydrogen atom because there is the nucleus, which is the proton, and then there's the electron somewhere around that proton. So what is this wave equation? So then Max Born says that he declared that the motion of particles follows probability laws, but probability itself propagates in conformity with the laws of causality. In this new picture, matter indeed consisted of particles, not waves. Thank God, right? So that's nice, because matter is, something we can touch. Like, we are all made of ordinary matter. We're made of atoms with electrons in them, and protons and neutrons as well, depending on the atom in them, molecules, things like that. Water, we're made of water. Water is a molecule, all that stuff. So it would be nice if we were made of particles rather than, waves intuitively, and turns out we are. So what is a wave? What did Schrödinger write down? He wrote down the probability of finding the particle, not the particle itself. The markings captured on photographic plates are the tracks left by point-like particles, not waves. But the chance of finding the particle at any given point was given by a wave. More precisely, the absolute square of the Schrödinger wave represents the probability of finding the particle at a specific point in space and time. Thus, it did not matter if the Schrödinger wave spread out over time. It simply meant that if you left an electron by itself, over time it would wander around and you would not know precisely where it was. All the paradoxes were now solved. The Schrödinger wave was not the particle itself, but represented the chance of finding it. Should have done better in school. Aww. Werner Heisenberg. Okay, so now that we know that that the Schrödinger wave equation is giving us the probability of finding a particle, giving us the probability of finding an electron, for example. Now let's talk about Heisenberg. Remember how Heisenberg had a big problem with Dirac's antimatter finding, and he had a sort of a problem with quantum mechanics and some of the discoveries and results coming out of quantum mechanics. But now listen to this. So this is a prime example of somebody contributing something even more strange after having a problem with the topic. My battery is still low. Werner Heisenberg took this one step further, this whole probability thing. So because Max Born contributed the probability thing, because Schrödinger and Dirac contributed the equations for quantum mechanics, the wave equations, Schrödinger contributed the wave equations, Dirac made them relativistic, because all of this work was contributed already, and Max Born contributed the probability theory, that it's actually describing a probability. These are all great contributions, but because of this, Heisenberg, who had a huge issue with this sort of thing earlier, now contributes something extremely important and mind-blowing. So listen to this. He agonized endlessly with Bohr over the puzzles of probability in investing this new theory, often getting into heated arguments with his older colleague. So basically, physicists were struggling with this probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics. The fact that we would only have the probability of finding a particle and not really a super duper deterministic equation for being able to say where this particle is. This was new. We remember how classical mechanics had been so successful and is still successful. We still use it in NASA and things like that because it is by and large very successful. Most things are very valid at the scale where we're operating. But at the scale of quantum mechanics, the physics of the very small, things are not deterministic anymore. And historically speaking, because things were more known in the classical way, this was very difficult for people to accept. So we will get into this. They had agonized over this, Bohr and Heisenberg. One day, after a frustrating night of grappling with the question of probabilities, he took a long stroll down Field Park behind his university, constantly asking himself how it was possible that one could not know the precise location of an electron. How can the location of an electron be uncertain, as claimed by Max Born, if you can simply measure where it is? He's saying that we can just measure where an electron is. We take those photographic images. What's the deal with this uncertainty? What's the deal with saying, because when you say that there is only the probability of finding something, oh my God, I'm so blocked. My nose is blocked. That also means that there is an uncertainty of finding something. Basically, taking the absolute magnitude squared from the wave equation gave you the probability of finding the electron. But that also means that there is some uncertainty associated with finding the electron. So what about that? Then it suddenly hit him. Everything became clear. In order to know where an electron was, you had to look at it. This meant shining a light beam at it. Like you guys looking at me now is because there is light beams shining at me. You are looking at me with the help of photons. Same way, when you look at an electron to measure where it is, you would do so with photons. Now, at the scale of quantum mechanics, the physics of the very small, electrons are small enough where it matters that you've shined a photon on it. At that scale, light is not a wave. Light is light is still a wave, but light is also a photon at that scale. The particle nature of light is important at that scale, depending on which type of light too, of course. But depending on the scale, you might want to consider the particle nature of light. In the scale of the electron, you might want to consider the particle nature of light. And you're saying that you're using photons to use to see an electron, but that means that you've involved something else now. So the in order to know where the electron was, you had to look at it. This meant shining a light beam at it, but the photons in the light beam would collide with the electron, making its position uncertain. In other words, the act of observation necessarily introduced uncertainty. He reformulated this question into a new principle of physics. So this is very important, the uncertainty principle. So this is Heisenberg's contribution, which states that one cannot determine both the location and the velocity of a particle at the same time. More precisely, the product of the uncertainty in position and momentum must be greater than or equal to Planck's constant divided by 4 pi. So there is an equation now for uncertainty. Not only is there an equation, a wave equation for matter, which is really about probability of finding the particle, but because now this wave equation of matter is formalized as probability, not only is physics of this quantum scale not deterministic anymore, we are formalizing quantum mechanics as a probability, which means that you can formalize uncertainty. And that's what Heisenberg is contributing. I have to blow my nose. I'm sorry. Do I have? I do have something. Don't look at me while I'm blowing my nose. Look at this other thing. Look at Suji. Oh. I wonder what he could have done with a high-powered laser. Who? Einstein or... Heisenberg? Are you talking about Heisenberg? Maybe I do have a cold. Gosh darn it. Oh my god. What the frick? I blame the chlorine. Okay, now I look like I'm sick. But I think it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright, guys. Alright. So, uncertainty is being formalized by Heisenberg here with this product of the uncertainty in position and momentum must be greater than or equal to Planck's constant divided by 4 pi. So we have an equation now for uncertainty, thanks to Heisenberg. It's a thing that we have to learn in quantum mechanics. So there is that. This was not just a byproduct of the crudeness of our instruments. So this is not just us not being able to properly measure where the electron is and its velocity and all of that. It was a fundamental law of nature, which is that you've messed with nature by measuring it. So now deal with this uncertainty. And here's the equation for the uncertainty. And it is this, is what Heisenberg is writing down. So it's pretty bold. It's pretty earth-shattering, especially coming from somebody who was so skeptical about things. Remember when he didn't like what Dirac had done and such. So even God could not know both the precise position and momentum of an electron. So when you're at those quantum scales and you use photon to look at the electron, you have now disturbed the electron with that photon. You will not know its position as well as velocity at the same time. So much so that because also we know that these are probabilities, that's being obtained by the equations, by the wave equation that initially was contributed by Schrödinger. We now know a way to formalize the uncertainty as well. This was the decisive moment when the quantum theory plunged into deep, totally uncharted waters. Up to then, one could argue that quantum phenomena were statistical representing the average motions of trillions of electrons. Now, even the motions of a single electron could not be definitively determined. Einstein was horrified. He almost felt betrayed, knowing that his good friend Max Born was abandoning determinism, one of the most cherished ideas in all of classical physics. So this is what I was talking about just a minute ago. This is why this was such a big deal, because that's what they were used to. They were used to being able to predict what's going to happen, being able to deterministically give you an equation for something, to give you the answer for something, not just the probability of something, not just the chance of something, and then not only having uncertainty, but even having a theory and an equation for uncertainty, and not just because of uncertainty in an experiment, but because it's nature. This is all very alien to them. Even though all of these people have contributed to quantum mechanics, they can still have an issue personally with the findings or the progress in quantum mechanics at this point. Determinism states, in essence, that you can determine the future if you know everything about the present. For example, Newton's great contribution to physics was that he could predict the motion of comets, moons, and planets via his laws of motion once he knew the present state of the solar system. We still do this. That's how NASA knows what Pluto will do, or Jupiter, or Jupiter's moons, Neptune. All of that is classical mechanics for the most part. And classically, we know where things will be. That's the scale of classical mechanics. But quantumly, we can only give you probabilities. We can only give you probabilities, and we can only state the probability of finding a particle somewhere, depending on which particle you're talking about and what, force or potential well it's in. And we will have some uncertainties about it. We can even quantify those, and we have equations for those. That's where we're at with quantum mechanics at this point, and people were not liking it. They were not liking this at all. They had issues with this. So for centuries, physicists had marveled at the precision of Newton's laws, that they could predict the motion of celestial bodies, in principle, millions of years into the future. In fact, up to that time, all of science was based on determinism. That is, a scientist can predict the outcome of an experiment if the scientist knows the position and velocities of all particles. Followers of Newton summarized this belief by comparing the universe to a gigantic clock. You get the gist. Basically, they were control freaks. They were having lots of issues with the fact that no matter what, you would not know for sure. That's what quantum mechanics said, that this was probabilistic, not deterministic. You would just have to be a little bit laid back with that, about the fact that you can't know. So uncertainty principle negated all of this determinism obsession that they had, stating that it's impossible to predict the future state of the universe. Given a uranium atom, for example, one could never calculate when it will decay, only the likelihood of its doing so. In fact, even God or a deity did not know when the uranium atom would decay. In December 1926, responding to Born's paper, Einstein wrote, "Quantum mechanics I'm looking at. Okay. Quantum mechanics calls for a great deal of respect, but some inner voice tells me that this is not the true Jacob. The theory offers a lot, but it hardly brings us any closer to the old man's secret. For my part, at least, I'm convinced that he does not throw dice. So Einstein had an issue with this, and he's saying that God does not throw dice. He doesn't believe in this level of uncertainty. See you next time, Nicholas. It is 3 a.m., isn't it? Have a great day tomorrow, and we won't stay up too long. We'll just finish a little bit. So, Schrodinger. Einstein is saying God does not throw dice. I don't know what this uncertainty stuff is, but this can't be right. That's what he was saying. That's what he is of the belief of. When commenting on Heisenberg's theory, Einstein remarked, Heisenberg has laid a big quantum egg. In Göttingen, they believe in it. I don't. Schrodinger himself disliked this idea immensely. He once said that if his equation represented only probabilities, because remember, this is all starting with his equation, his wave equation for matter, which turns out is the wave equation for the probability of finding the particle. Not the probability of the particle being somewhere, but the probability of finding the particle somewhere as a function of time or whatever. That's his wave equation. Schrodinger himself did not like this at all. He once said that if his equation represented only probabilities, then he regretted having anything to do with it. Einstein chimed in that he would have become a cobbler or employee in a gaming house if he had known that the quantum revolution he helped to initiate would introduce chance into physics. This is how bad they were at not being control freaks. Bye, Amir. Have a good night or day. Same to you. Thank you. They were just so deterministic. They were like, you're saying that physics has chance in it. Chance has a role to play here because we're in the physics of the very small. We can't. We just can't. Because these are people. They're human beings. They can have opinions. That does not change, however, what nature is and how it operates at different scales. And this was the finding of that time, which is that this is a chance, not deterministic. Quantum mechanics is about chance. So this was very difficult for people to stomach. Even the greats of that time, Einstein, Schrodinger, all these people who contributed. So that's the thing. Sometimes after you've contributed something great, you have to keep an open mind to those great things leading to amazing, strange, fascinating things that you may not even like, but you've started a revolution, you've contributed to a revolution that you might personally have some trouble with. That's the thing about doing great things, is that it can actually be kind of difficult because you never know what it will lead to. You have to keep that little bit of like flexibility with your contribution leading to something that it might surprise you, basically. You know, you can't control everything. It can go in a way that is difficult to stomach. Physicists were beginning to divide into two camps. Oh God. 10% battery. All right, here we go. Couple more paragraphs, then we'll call it a night. Physicists were beginning to divide into two camps. Einstein led one camp, which still clung to a belief in determinism, an idea that dated back to Newton himself and had guided physicists for centuries. Schrodinger and de Broglie were allies. The other, much larger camp was led by Niels Bohr, who believed in uncertainty and championed a new version of causality based on averages and probabilities. So Niels Bohr, this guy, he's championing this probability, uncertainty, all of this stuff. The other people, even though they contributed and their contributions are invaluable, they're amazing. But even those amazing contributors were having trouble with the direction in which quantum mechanics was going, because it's a surprising direction. There can be surprises along the way when you do great things. That's what this was. Bohr and Einstein, in some sense, were polar opposites in other ways. While Einstein as a child shunned sports and was glued to books on geometry and philosophy, Bohr was renowned throughout Denmark as a soccer star. Whereas Einstein spoke forcefully and dynamically, wrote almost lyrically, and could exchange banter with journalists as well as royalty, Bohr was stiff, had a horrible mumble, was often inarticulate and inaudible, and would often repeat a single word endlessly when engrossed in thought. While Einstein could effortlessly write elegant and beautiful prose, Bohr was paralyzed when he had to write a paper. As a high school student, he would dictate all his papers to his mother. So some physicists do have issues with writing. Bohr was one of them. It's okay. There is help when that's the case. After he married, he would dictate them to his wife, even interrupting his honeymoon to dictate one long and important paper. He would sometimes involve his entire laboratory in rewriting his papers, once over 100 times, completely disrupting the work. So some people are perfectionists. They keep writing and rewriting a paper. They don't believe that it can be published as it is, even after many, many drafts. It sounds like Bohr is one of them. He was torturing his whole group to do this. There are professors who still are like that. I don't know anyone like that. I'm just kidding. I know many like that. Wolfgang Pauli. So remember Pauli, who was... Amir says, yeah. Yep. Remember Pauli came up with some witty dialogues about all this. Wolfgang Pauli, once asked to visit Bohr in Copenhagen, replied, "If the last proof is sent away, then I will come." Because, his proofs are like hundreds of them. So proof isn't like the draft. So both were, however, obsessed with their first love, physics. So both Einstein and Bohr, Niels Bohr, obsessed with physics. That's what the author is writing. Bohr, in fact, would scribble equations on the goalpost of a soccer game if he had an inspiration. Both would also sharpen their thoughts by using others as sounding boards for their ideas. Strangely, Bohr could only function if he had assistants around him to bounce off ideas. Without an assistant whose ear he could borrow, he was helpless. So this is another thing, is that a lot of physicists need sounding boards. They need to be talking to other people in order for their... Oh my God, that reminded me of a collaboration that I've had. Yeah, without the sounding board method, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do difficult things on your own. You have to speak it out. And it helps for there to be another human or two. Sometimes just one is fine. I had some collaborations in the last few years where it was really nice to use to work with the other person as a sounding board, and we each did that to the other, and that helped a lot with those types of things to progress and become something more and something that actually worked. So yeah, this is a thing. It's a thing. Sounding board, collaboration. Nothing is ever done in a vacuum. I think in the past, these collaborations were not always given credit, but at this point, we realize that physics is highly collaborative. Anything great is highly collaborative, so that's just how things are. The showdown finally came at the 6th Solvay Conference in Brussels in 1930. What was at stake was nothing less than the nature of reality itself. So there was a showdown between Einstein and Bohr. I feel bad for Bohr because we know that Einstein was a very good speaker. He was very charming, very charismatic. He was not only very intelligent and great, he was also very good at presenting. Partly why he was so famous is because he's very good at presenting, very, very good at speaking about his work. This is a very important skill when you are a great person, great at anything, great at physics, great at whatever. If you can speak about it, helps a lot to become more famous rather than less famous. Some people can't help it, of course. It might not be his intention to become famous, but just rendered him so. Einstein hammered incessantly at Bohr, who reeled under the constant attacks but managed to ably defend his positions. Oh, poor Bohr. I feel bad. Can only imagine. It's hard to go up against a more established scientist who is so well known, you know? Finally, Einstein presented an elegant thought experiment which he thought would demolish the demon, the uncertainty principle. Imagine a box containing radiation. There is a hole in the box with a shutter. When the shutter is opened briefly, it can release a single photon from the box. Thus, we can measure with great certainty the precise time at which the photon was emitted. Much later, the box can be weighed. Because of the release of the photon, the box weighs less. Because of the equivalence of matter and energy, we can now tell how much total energy the box contains, also to great accuracy. Thus, we now know both the total energy and the time of opening of the shutter to arbitrary accuracy without any uncertainty, and hence the uncertainty principle is wrong. Einstein thought he'd finally found the tool to demolish the new quantum theory. So it's kind of like he's having Bohr do a defense of the uncertainty principle. This is reminding me of my defense and my candidacy. It's a little traumatic, to be honest. But we'll keep going. Paul Ehrenfest, one of the participants to this conference and a witness to this fierce battle, would write later on. To Bohr, this was a heavy blow. At the moment, he saw no solution. He was extremely unhappy all through the evening. Oh. Because, in the moment, you might not have the answer. I'll be honest, during my PhD defense, I could not answer my last question. They keep asking questions until you cannot answer. I actually thought I might fail because of this. I can imagine this feeling. I was very upset. They kick you out to make the decision of whether you pass or not. Most people pass. But I still regret not being able to answer the last question. Not a very happy thought for me. So yeah, publicly defending your work, which a defense is generally public. It can be, anyways. In this case too, publicly, Niels Bohr was not being able to answer something, even though he might know it, even though he might be able to come up with it later. In that moment, he could not answer, and I can only imagine how depressing that might have been. He was extremely unhappy all through the evening, walked from one person to another, trying to persuade them all that this could not be true. Because if E was right, this would mean the end of physics. But he could think of no refutation. I will never forget the sight of the two opponents leaving the university club. So this is Ehrenfest who's writing about this later on. Einstein, a majestic figure, walking calmly with a faint, ironical smile, and Bohr trotting along by his side, extremely upset. Oh, my Bohr. Oh, poor baby. Oh, my goodness. When he talked to Ehrenfest later that evening, all Bohr could mumble was one word, over and over again. Einstein. 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 But after an intense, sleepless night, there's so many sleepless nights in physics, you guys, in science and inventions in general. After an intense sleepless night, Bohr finally found the defect in Einstein's argument, and he used Einstein's own theory of relativity to defeat him. Bohr noted that because the box weighed less than before.
Sorry, I can't help you with that on iPad.
Excuse me, iPad, go away. My device is talking to me without being asked to. Okay, are you ready for this? Bohr noted that because the box weighed less than before, it would rise slightly in the Earth's gravity. Alexa is focused. Because the box weighed less than before, it would rise slightly in the Earth's gravity, but according to general relativity, time speeds up as gravity gets weaker, so that time beats faster on the moon, for example. Thus, any minuscule uncertainty in measuring the time of the shutter would be translated into an uncertainty in measuring the position of the box. Any minuscule uncertainty in measuring the time of the shutter would be translated into an uncertainty in measuring the position of the box. You cannot therefore measure the position of the box with absolute uncertainty. So he related the fact that you've changed gravity. You've changed the gravity configuration, not changed gravity, but the configuration by taking out that photon. You've changed that particular configuration. It gets weaker, so that time beats faster. And so that particular uncertainty in measuring the time would be translated into an uncertainty in measuring the position. You cannot therefore measure the position of the box with absolute uncertainty because so basically he was having trouble with introducing uncertainty in this when he had argued that uncertainty was definitely a thing. What about the uncertainty of the position of this box from which you took out the photon? Now he's saying, well, there is an uncertainty. It's actually because of general relativity. Einstein, Mr. who did not believe me. So that's the point of this particular part of the story. I have to charge the phone again because it's at 1%. So, 1 second.